Welcome to Joy of Business Radio, hosted by Joy of Business facilitators from around the world, with special shows from Simone Milasas, the founder and creator of Joy of Business. Are you bored or dissatisfied with your work or business? Joy of Business is an invitation to a completely new way of creating. Did you know your business and job can actually be fun and joyful? If what you are currently doing isn't working for you, listen into this show full of pragmatic tools from Access Consciousness, which change everything in business, from money to finance, staff, creativity, productivity, communication, and beyond. Joy of Business Radio, weekly on OMTimes Radio.
Hello, welcome. I'm so glad you could join us today. This is Elena Blanco, and I am here all the way from Mexico City, and I am being joined by an awesome Joy of Business facilitator whose name is Elena Rice. Hi, Elena.
Hi, Elena. I'm so happy to have this conversation about business and Joy of Business with you today on the OM radio show.
Me too.
So we have a kind of fun. Yeah, and you're in Mexico. I'm coming to Mexico soon, a couple times. I love Mexico City. I enjoy that. And I'm in San Francisco.
Oh, nice. Well, San Francisco used to be Mexico, so you're almost Mexican now.
See. Almost.
So,
there are
today...
many people from Mexico that live here in my city. So it
I
kind
know.
of is. My favorite food is Mexican food, so...
That's amazing. Yeah, this is very interesting what I see in Mexico, and I think it's part of what happens everywhere in the world, where people have all these issues. They would love to be an entrepreneur. They would love to have their own business, and yet they think they have all these prerequisites that they should have before creating a business. So today we are going to talk about this, and I know, Glenna, that maybe you can tell us what happens in the U.S. with this. Is it the same?
Oh,
because we have this. Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. I would say it's totally the same. People have ideas on how, what they have to do before they start a business, like the prerequisites you're talking about. So it keeps a lot of people that could be amazing entrepreneurs from starting something that could change their life and create more for them because they have points of views in the way of what that is. So what are we going to talk about? I know we were kind of saying the three things that you need to know before you start a business. And we're going to talk about things that are really outside of the box, right? Things that people really don't know about, things that some of them I knew about, but some of them I did not know about when I started my practice. I'm a physical therapist, and I started it it's been like 17, 18 years ago when I first started. And some of them I did know. But if I had the information back then, oh my gosh, it would have been so much easier. I would have stressed out a lot less.
So my family is, everyone is an entrepreneur, and I made a choice very early on to be in the corporate world. So for me, the way of making business was the usual, like, you have to work a lot, you have to get the money, and then you might think about maybe of becoming an entrepreneur, and that's very different from what the tools that we have here in Access Consciousness. So yeah, we're going to talk about the three things you have to know before or for starting your own business, and they are not what you expect.
They are not what you expect. So you just hit on the first one a little bit about you don't need the money first. People think that they have to have the money. They have these points of view that they have to have the money first before they start. But actually, the thing that starts the business is your choice to start it. And you do not have to have the money when you choose to start creating your business.
How come? Because everybody thinks, like, you see a lot of, for example, in Mexico, you have all these offers that they are like, invest here, like, create your own business. You just need $10,000 to start your business. You just need to, I don't know, 300,000 pesos or 3 pesos or whatever. But they are always asking for money before creating your own business. And this idea of choosing it is so different. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
I would love to. I can talk a little bit about how I started my first business, which was a physical therapy practice. Like I said, I didn't consider it a business. I considered it a practice, which is really funny looking at it now because I definitely was in business for myself. I was an entrepreneur. I was doing Schedule Cs as a self-employed businesswoman. But what I did is I came back from the seminar, right? And I can see now where I chose to do it before I had the money. But I'd gone to the seminar and learned this amazing body work that I was blown away by the changes, the possibilities and the changes. And I remember coming back right from that seminar and saying, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I'm going to start a practice in this. And what I did was I had a little space in my house where I saw my patients, clients, and I went to my daughter's school with little business cards I'd made at home. It was, so really low cost. Just paid for the paper. I bought nice paper and printed these business cards and went to all the mothers that were milling around the playground in the morning and after school and gave out the cards and said, I had a deal. You can come in for a free evaluation and 2 visits at half price. And that's how my business started. There was very little investment in any money, but it was the choice. When I got back from that seminar, it was the choice to do it that started creating it. Once you choose it, you already started the creation of it. Once the idea is there, the creation starts. And if you have the point of view, you need the money first, you stop it. You stop that creation. You want to choose it, and then the money amazingly starts showing up to contribute to what you're creating already. I don't know if you had any experience with that, with your business.
Totally. In fact, yes. As I was telling you, I still work in the corporate world, but I have this idea that having a business would be totally complicated, and I would have to have all these prerequisites to create it. And then one day I started doing access training, and for one day I had like every prereq, so I went to be a certified facilitator, and it was such a surprise. Like suddenly I had the opportunity to create a business, and it was like, well, I might as well use everything that I have learned for something. So I just started like that, and it was funny because I had this minuscule information in my Facebook page, like, oh, by the way, I went to all these trainings, and I would like, if you need my services, I am here. And people started arriving, and people started talking about it. So it's so weird. Like, and I think the key ingredient that you mentioned, and it's the same for me, is something I really liked to do. Like, I was enjoying doing what I was doing. It was not about the money. It was not about, oh, I am going to be rich doing this. It was not a get-rich scheme, but more, hey, this is an amazing thing I would love to see myself doing every day.
Oh, I love that. That's actually one of the things that we didn't have is the 3 things that you need to know was love what you're doing. I mean, that is another huge part of starting your business is the things that you love and enjoy doing, the things that you do all day and forget to eat, or you forget to sleep, and you're just, if you're an artist and you're drawing all the time, if you're like you access facilitator doing those things and you're always going to classes and reading the manuals and you just enjoy all of that, those are the things that will actually create the money in your life and create, because there's things that you do better than other people because you love doing them, and you often don't recognize that because it's something you love and it's something you just do, and you don't recognize the value of what that is. And when you start to create some things that bring you joy, that are easy for you, then that's the things that other people want to know more about from you. They're the things they'll pay you to do. And the money shows up. And you're right, you can't make it about the money. If you make it about the money, that can kill the business. But you want to invite the money to you all the time. Money come, but not make it about the money. The money will show up to support what you choose.
Totally. And the other thing is that I love that you said is it's not about the how. It's just, let's do it. Because if you start asking how, then you get all these projections, all these expectations that will limit all the possibilities that you could be creating, asking for the money and getting things as you were saying.
That's great to bring up that. Yeah, the how can totally mess us up because we start thinking too much and trying to control the business, and we lose the creation of it in the future and what it's creating and what the business wants to be. I mean, you have to talk to your business all the time, and if you're trying to figure it out and figure out the how, you lose that creative way it can start expanding in all sorts of different directions because you're trying to control it. Like, I need to do this and I need to do that. I need this many clients and this many, these things in my office, and I need to go to these people to talk to them for promotion, and instead of asking a question. So what kind of questions have you asked about your business? So you can follow the energy and allow it to start creating the way it would like to, including you, but not controlling it. What are some great questions you ask?
The questions I love, I am very, I do a lot of things. So some things I am very bad at. And maybe that's a judgment, of course, but this could also be a consciousness that there are some things within the business that I love to do, and some others that I think there are people that are much better than me doing. So one of the questions I usually ask my business is, who would like to play with you and make you grow and bring them to me? Like asking for people that are much better than me in everything, not only everything that I don't like to do, but also in everything that I like to do, because it's a way of expanding everything. When you're the only one, you can only grow as much as you yourself can do. And if you start asking the business what kind of people would contribute to them, would be a gift to it, so it can grow, it makes it so different. And then you get people from all places, every place in the world, that faraway places that suddenly write to you like, I saw you in a video in YouTube, and I was like, YouTube, come here, and I have 20 people waiting for you. And it's like, oh my God, how come? About it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, asking the people that will contribute to growing your business. And part of that is one of the other things. I think we're going to go to a break soon, so we may want to talk about this afterwards. But definitely, that's so exciting to have the people show up that will contribute to creating your business growing. And that's part of looking at the future and seeing what your choices are going to create for the future and what will contribute to your business to grow it greater in the future. So you're always creating now for a greater future with your business. And I have people, like you said, all over the world. I have teams in, 20 different countries sometimes during different years that are contributing to my business.
So let's wait a second, and we come back in real soon.
No one needs to have a money problem, especially you.
Yeah, did you hear that? You have an unlimited and mostly unaccessed capacity to create money and a financial reality that works for you. Simone Milasas has a brand new book. It's called Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. And right now, when you go to gettingoutofdebtjoyfully.com, if you pre-order the book, you'll get a free online course. What if you can create money in ways no one else can? Just go to gettingoutofdebtjoyfully.com to get your copy today.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Aloha, my name is Jennifer O'Neill, and I'd like to invite you to come join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time for my show, Spirit Chat. Spirit Chat focuses on simplifying the process of using the spiritual tools and gifts you were born with in a way that fits into your everyday life. I also teach different techniques that will help you learn how to navigate the spirit realm and empower you on your own spiritual journey. So join me this Wednesday as I guide you through the spirit world.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
And we're back.
Yeah. So we were talking about the future. Let's talk more about it. It's so interesting because in the corporate world, you usually create your budget based on the past. Like if this year I sold, 20 million or $20, next year I am going to grow 10%. And here at Access, we talk in a way that is we create the future in a way that is so different that I totally love. And I would love you to tell us about how do you create your future with your business.
Well, part of it is talking to my business all the time. I'm always asking it where it would like to go, what it would like to create, how it would like to expand itself. Not really the how, but what, everything I choose, I'm asking what's this going to create for the future. If I choose to go, let's say I'm going to do a class in Mexico City. Someone invites me to come to Mexico City, and then I'm always going, okay, so truth, if I go to Mexico City, what's that going to create for my business in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? What is my business going to be like? What is my life going to be like in 5, 10, 15, 100, 1,000 years if I go to Mexico City? And I look at which ones create, if I don't go or if I go, what creates more? And then I choose based on always choose on what is the lightest, the one that creates more. When we're talking about it, we're looking at light and heavy, so those questions are, if I choose this, what will it create? And if I don't choose it, what will it create? And one of them is going to have, you're going to perceive a greater expansion of everything. You may perceive it in your body. It may be all around you. It may just make you smile or giggle. But those are the ones I choose. So I'm always asking what's going to create more for my business. That's funny about the 10%. I mean, I've had my business grow 50% in a year, in different years. It's constantly growing much bigger than the 10%. If I'd had that point of view, my business would be so much smaller now than how it's created itself over the years. What else would you say about that? About how do you look at the future and create the future so you make choices based on what creates more?
The other thing I do is, and this is a tool I really hated for so long, that is choosing what you do want. I used to do everything from avoiding what I didn't want. Like, I don't want to have no money. I don't want to work too much. I don't work,
Mm-hmm.
What I love about Access is, what do you really want? Like, what would your day be like if you were creating the business you love? And it's like really pondering, waking up in the morning in your awesome bed where you feel totally great, and being present with the activities you will have during the day. If you like traveling, if you like meeting with people, if you like, talking in front of people, if you like making emails, if you like writing, I don't want to say an agenda because it's not an agenda, but feel what is this thing that would be like to be your life, creating it from where you do want things, the things you do want in your life, and then following the energy of every choice during the day that matches that energy closely. Which means, for example, if you love traveling and suddenly someone invites you to a manicure parlor that has nothing to do with traveling, but the energy is fun as much as traveling, you might as well consider going there. And maybe somewhere in that manicure parlor, you will find someone that gets you closer to this place where you are enjoying your life to the fullest.
That is so great. Yeah, and it's not even, it's even, you can take that and expand it even bigger than every day. Like getting an idea of what you would like to have as your business. Like, would you like to travel? How much money you would like to make every year? What kind of people you would like to work with, and perceiving what the energy of that is. And then everything that you notice as you go along living every day that matches that energy, you follow it. And that's one of the ways you start expanding your business. I mean, to do it every single day, but also to do it even greater than that. Getting the energy of what you love to do each day and the energy of what you would love to have as your business is a great way to start. You start to follow the energy. It's a lot of people talk about following the energy, but what is following the energy? It's following what's lighter. It's following what makes you smile. Following, like you said, the things that match the energy of what you're asking to have as part of your life and living.
Totally. And the other part that I really like about creating the future is looking at everything you have defined as you that is stopping you from doing it. For example, if you define yourself as an introvert and you're thinking about doing conferences, maybe it's just a definition. Maybe it's not who you are. So looking at all these points of view that you have when you start to ponder on activities. For example, I have a friend that used to say she hated being touched. So she wouldn't like to work doing sessions because she wouldn't like to touch people. And she went to a 3-day body class. And suddenly she realized that it was not even her who didn't like to be touched. So now her business has grown so much because, of course, she was limiting herself doing, I am not going to do anything related to touch. I am just going to do what does not require touching. So if you're going to say hi to someone in Mexico, you have to kiss their cheek. That includes touching. So everybody who enjoys being touched wouldn't go to her. And changing that point of view changed her relationship with her business so much. So I think that's another thing that creates the future so much, like looking at what you have defined as yourself that is not necessarily you, that you're using to keep this place where you feel comfortable or you feel you, whatever that means.
Yeah, where you're avoiding being uncomfortable. Often the uncomfortable is where all the change is. I actually now love being uncomfortable because I know whatever I've been asking for is about to show up. That is a great example of how we limit ourselves. It's funny, before I found this amazing work, Access Consciousness, before I had these tools, when I first started, someone had asked me to be on their radio show, which is really funny. What you limit by your points of view, the way you've defined yourself. And I remember being just furious with them. Like, you don't even know who I am. Who do you think I am going on a radio show? I don't like talking in public. I don't talk in public. I don't do any of that stuff. You don't even know me. And I was like really upset with the person for even inviting me on. And 6 months later, after doing the beginning amazing classes, the bars and the foundation class and Access and I think a GOP, the person asked me again to come on their radio show, and I went, oh, sure, that'd be fun. Like the huge change that I got in the way I'd been defining myself as someone who didn't do this. And now I talk on the radio all the time. I have radio shows, and I do Zooms, and I do classes, huge classes with tons of people, which I had decided was not me, which was totally actually a huge possibility of my future at the time. And changing that gave me so much more of me and created a huge life compared to what I was having back years ago. So thank you for that. I had kind of forgotten.
Oh, well, my pleasure. And I think another thing that creates the future is like asking the universe for creating with you. And the first time I heard that, it sounded so like wacky. What does that mean, asking the universe? And it has been just like, for me at least, it's like, okay, I am willing to have this, and then what would it take? And it's not like I imagine the universe talking back to me, but really like engaging with everything and everyone that could in some way, and that I totally don't understand, create with me. And I don't know if you have had this experience, but it really changes the perspective of things. It stops being like, I have to do this and then this will happen. But it really starts being so different when you are willing to not be in control.
Oh, it's huge to ask. I mean, yeah, that was a weird one for me back years ago. To someone had said, ask the universe to create with you. I'd be like, what? But it's really allowing the consciousness of every molecule around you, like your car, the trees, your children, you know, the kid's school, the dentist, whatever. Everything around you can contribute to you and everything you're creating. And taking down the limitations that keep you from even perceiving what that is. And then you just start getting hit. It's like what we've been speaking about, following the energy. And you'll just end up, driving to some place and walking in the door and someone wants to do business with you in a shop that you never even thought you were going to that day. It's like an aspiration. What would it take, or this or that or the other, to show up? What would it take to have this as part of my reality? What would it take to have this? And then not ever answering those questions with a solid answer, allowing everything around you, all the people, the planet, the universe, to start contributing to what you just asked for. That's how you start to create with the universe. It's a totally different way to look at everything, and it makes your life becomes a surprise every day when you are creating that way. Is all sorts of things just start showing up you never expected, that are beyond your imagination, that start contributing to what you just asked for. It's fabulous. One of the greatest gifts was to receive that in my life, I have to say, to receive that possibility.
I have changed, something that I have changed dynamically. I used to be one of these control freaks that have a to-do list, like for every aspect in my life. I would have a to-do list for my house, a to-do list for my business, a to-do list for my job, a to-do list for my kids. And I changed that for an activity list. I would love to talk more about it, and I'm sure you'll do something in that after the break. That is just now.
Yes.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Tune in to the Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World with me, host Robin Fritz, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. I'll cover personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice, and more, all to help you tap your own intuitive and healing skills. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Putting the fun back in business. Wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, go to bed, repeat. Business, work, your job, hate it, bored, want to leave it, or Business, work, your job, fun, play, joy, fun. Which would you like to choose? You may not know this, but business, your job, work can actually be fun. Shake up your business routine. Check out my 3-part free video series on putting the fun back in business. Go to accessjoybusiness.com/fun and put the fun back in business.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hi. And we're back again. Hi, Elena. Yes. What were we going to speak about before the break? To-do list. Yes.
Yeah. Instead of this is one of my favorite tools. It is like, I call it an activity and ideas book, which is basically a little notebook where I put everything that I like. Sometimes I'm in the middle of the traffic and I have this great idea, and it is neither the time nor the possibility to do it right now. So I do just a little scribble in my notebook, and then I ask this idea to talk to me when it's
tell you, yes,
when it's ready for me to do something about it. And it has been so amazing, because sometimes I have an idea and maybe 2 years later I find the exact perfect person with whom I can create that. And it has been so magical. Also, it has given me such a great possibility of myself, things that really matter. Because sometimes the dry cleaners is not the priority, and creating your business is. If you have a to-do list, you will prioritize dry cleaners sometimes. And I don't know if you do this or you do something similar.
I do have an idea list in my phone, in my notes. I don't have a piece of paper, but yeah, and it's a great way to start when you have things that pop into your head to put it down. And then you don't want to make it significant and put a lot of energy or ever make yourself wrong ever for not creating those things that are in your list. It's just, and then talking to the list, like you said, and asking it to let you know when it's time for these things to show up and be created or instituted. And it may not be you that does it, and to be willing to let them go and have them with total ease, both. And it's daily stuff, to-do lists. Boy, did I have a lot of those. I never got to. I mean, my to-do lists never, ever were completed. I had those with, 3 kids and a single mom, and, the things that I was supposed to do every day, and I had lists for it, or the projects I wanted to get completed never really happened. I get a lot of stuff checked off, but they did not contribute to having ease, having the to-do list. Now, some people may have ease with them, and if you do love your to-do list, keep your to-do list, but have more of a flexibility and a possibility with them. So what I do now is I wake up in the morning, if I have a whole bunch of things that are popping in my head, like an email to write, work on a book, have a radio show, pick up my kids from school, all the things that happen during, and I have very, very full days, I just ask kind of energetically, talk to all of those things and say, what's required of me today? What does my business require? What does my life require of me today? What do the kids require of me today? And let the things that are the loudest start popping into my awareness. And what I found is doing it that way is the lists go away. So many other things get taken care of with total ease that they just are done. You almost aren't aware of how you've completed other things on your list when you're prioritizing from the awareness of what's required of you every single day. And I'll check in. If I'm really busy and feel like I'm overwhelmed with so many things that I want to take care of, I definitely will ask, okay, what's required of me now? What's required of me now? And then I get an awareness of something. Maybe it's the dry cleaners. And then my day has a smoothness and an ease and a flow that's so different than it was before. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I love that. And that is something that really changed my life too. And the last, not least, of the 3 things that you would like to know about or before starting your business is money. This big thing, this big thing that we use as a reason to not create, as a reason to not go into so many places. So you mentioned I loved what you proposed today, so I would love you to talk about it.
Yeah, I think educate yourself about money. Now that's different than having the money first. It's to have an awareness of money, an awareness of the money that you would like to create with your business, the money that the business will require to every day. Like, what's the business require? What are the, like we would say, operating costs in this reality? But it's really what are the and then asking the business to contribute the revenue streams, or not even just the business, the energy you are in the universe contributing to the revenue streams that will support you, your family, the business, and everything that you're asking for. But and educating yourself about the money and how money works in this reality is a really wonderful thing to have. It's funny, I'm working with my parents. My parents are elderly. My dad's not, he's in hospice now, and they had a tax thing that happened 2013 that the IRS just in America, the IRS, Internal Revenue Service, just sent them a letter like 9 months ago. You owe this money. My dad doesn't remember it because he has Alzheimer's, and my mom never had anything to do with his business around the money and the taxes and the day-to-day functioning financially of the business. She is having to this week educate herself on money in a way she has never done, and I have to say she's stepping up, and I'm being a little bit of a daughter that says, hey, Mom, you got to do this because we have to change this so you don't have this massive tax bill in retirement, you know. And they didn't educate themselves about money. That's one of the things my parents did. And how many of your parents educated you around money? This was not a conversation I grew up with. It's something I've had to learn and make a choice to learn in my business and my life. I don't know about you. Did you have a family that educated you about money?
Well, yes, I have the luck of my grandmother was a genius in on money, and having things for me were super basic, just having a budget, how much do you spend every day and how much do you spend every week or every month. And I have found that there are so little people that do that. People don't know.
Yeah.
They at least what happens if you don't if you don't know where your money goes or where money comes from, you're working for the money, and money cannot work for you because you just can't. You're not driving it. You're just letting it. I don't know, loose like a wild horse or something.
Yeah, you're not having the awareness of it. Yeah, that's
totally.
You say budget, and it's. Oh, I was just going to say, in budget, it's not like you want to budget yourself and limit. You want to be aware of how much per month is required, how much you spend, and then how much is required, and do those numbers match? If you're spending more than what's coming in, what do you have to ask for? You know, add 10% to that for your 10% of money for you, 10% to royalties, and another 20% of what you're spending each month for whatever, for fun. And then start asking for the number that's actually required based on and having an awareness of how much you're spending, how much is going out every month, what your costs of living are, and then asking for more. And sorry, you were going to say something, Elena. I kind of butted in there.
No, it's perfect. When you mentioned the 10% tool, that is one of the greatest gifts I have seen in Access relating to money. And I have a group in Mexico that we are more than 20,000 people, and we propose this tool to you, just start whenever. It doesn't matter, just start. And of course, you meet with so much resistance. People is I cannot make ends meet with spending the 100% of what I earn. How am I going to make ends meet with 90%? And my joke is always, well, you won't, but you will have 10% in cash just for you. So what I have seen is people change their points of view and their relationship with money doing this 10% account. And just to explain what it is, if you have never heard of it, you take 10% of every dollar you earn and you keep it. You can keep it in cash, you can keep it in, I don't know, in an account, like a normal account, not an investment account, and you keep it for you, for having money.
This is the greatest money-changing thing there is that I've ever known of. When I started my 10% account, everything financially started changing because it was for the first time in my life. And like I said, my parents didn't educate me on money, and they were pretty much always people that had credit card debt. Not massive, but their money was always going right out as soon as it came, went right out to something. This allowed me to have money, and it was really the first time I'd ever even seen it because I didn't have it in my family, to have money for the first time. More money started showing up because I was willing to have it. Money started coming in because 10% of all my money just stayed with me. It was around. It was in, savings accounts. It was cash. It was some gold jewelry I bought. And the joy that was available and the difference of my relationship with money came after that. And Elena, everyone that I know that has done the 10% account over I think it accessed 14 years, 15 years, everyone that did this money financial situation is extraordinarily greater than it was before they started doing it. So if you want to change your money situation, this is one of the greatest tools I know of to change it.
For me, what I have found that people are the most surprised is how much money they actually make that they were not taking into account. Like, usually they think about money on what it earns, what enters in the bank. But if they receive any cash payment, it's just cash, like expendable cash. So when you start actually like counting what comes in, you might get surprised that you're actually living on much more than you used to think. Like you're spending more than you used to think, and you're making much more than you used to think. And that is like something amazing.
Yeah, being aware of money in a different way is such a life changer. It's an amazing tool. And it's part of the educating yourself with money. But, I would do it. I would get $20 and put $2 into my savings. I'd deposit a $20 check and put $2 right there and then into my savings account. Or if it was a $20 bill, I'd take $2 and put it in a shoebox in my room. It's really actually simple, but you have to choose it. It's that thing we talked about at the very beginning of this show, choice. Choice creates. Choosing your business starts to create your business. Choosing to have a 10% account will start to create it. It's a choice you have to make. And then start becoming aware of how much fun it is. What's possible with that?
Yeah. The other part that I have found very interesting that I didn't have in my money education was reading about money. And we can talk about it when we come back.
Actually, I think this is the end of the show. We're not coming back. Or do we have one more?
What do you hate about business? And do you want to change it? If you don't want to change anything about your job or business, stop listening. You're all good. If you'd like to have money just for the fun of it and stop the negative self-talk, check out Joy of Business. This is about knowing what you know about business and creating more than you can imagine. Access Joy of Business 101 classes offered around the world. Go to accessjoyofbusiness.com/101.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hello, I'm Lisa Berry. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Light on Living, a chance to see new, hear different, and feel more as I shine the spotlight on all the ways to lighten the load of life's challenges. Light on Living is your link to that new way you're looking for, that new understanding that will enhance your life, and that positive connection that will support your growth. So join me, and you'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
So, hello, we're back.
Hello, we are back. What a great conversation.
Yeah, I love it. So I was saying before the break, for me, something that has been wonderful is like reading about money, and it's a little bit shame. I used to be a little bit ashamed of this. I studied economics, so I have a major in economics. So these are things I should have known. But things like asking, what is the rate you're paying on the credit card in Mexico City? At least in Mexico, the country, sorry, not only Mexico City. There are some credit cards that charge you 50-60% of interest rate per year. So you're buying something in $1 and you end up paying $1.60 at the end of the year, which makes much more difficult for you to pay for things. And I have been asking, just out of curiosity, how many people know how much they pay? What is the rate on their house? What is the rate on their credit, on their business credit, on their credit card that they usually use for their business? And it's so little the people that actually know, that have read about it. And for me, it was something amazing, because just reading about it and making, starting to look at some other choices that are available in the market, I stopped using the money in a way, and it could be said in an unconscious way, but it was like if I didn't care about money when I really did care. So it was, for me, it was really interesting. I don't know if you had something like that, like out of pure curiosity.
That I looked at, credit cards are really different in America, and credit is different. We don't have interest rates that high, but there's a real variation on what the interest rates are. And I know when I was younger, when I was in college earning my master's degree in those times, I didn't have a lot of money coming in. I was in school all day. And I was able to play around with credit cards at that time to keep them at 0% interest rates, actually, for quite a long time. And then I started when I started using these access tools, talking about debt in a totally different way, because I was starting to go, oh my gosh, I've got all this money that I owe all the time. And talking about debt is something different as a past expenditure. And these expenditures were valuable to my future, I know at the time, because they got me through college. I was able to eat and buy things and pay my tuition with different credit cards. So it wasn't frivolous things. They were actually totally valuable to creating my future. But creating a different reality by educating myself on on the debt, the interest rates, what I was actually paying, and how to pay it off in a totally different way. Like how much, like if you look at your debt, if you have expenses like that, looking at how much you have and how much more money you would have to receive every month. Like how much more money would you have to make $100 more, a payment of $100 more, $200 more every single month, and how long would it take you to pay all that off? And when would you like to pay it off? In 1 year? How much would you have to increase your income, ask for the money to come, pay that off in 1 year? People are often really surprised when they look at it from that place, how little they actually have to earn each month extra, have to create more money to pay something off in a year. And that's another way to educate yourself about money. This has been a great conversation about this. I mean, these tools are so different than what you usually see in this reality. And it's never coming from the wrongness. You're not wrong because you had debt or past expenditures. You're not wrong that you didn't educate yourself about money. Like Elena was saying, she has an economic degree, and she had to. I got a degree in healthcare. There was no education about business and money for me then. and I learned how to work with the body. But if I ever made myself wrong for that, that would kill what I was creating in the future. So please don't make yourself wrong. Ask for what else is possible. What could you change that would create a greater reality and a greater business for you? It's really what else is possible is one of the great things to constantly be asking. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, and there's another tool I really, really love, which is asking questions. Like, I have met people that have a need with money that for me is like uncanny. Like, how come they do that? So what I have been doing is taking them out to lunch or for coffee or just like, talking to them and asking them questions. Asking them questions about how they look at things, how is their process, what kind of things they look at. I used to have a boss that I worked for a long time, and he had an issue. Where you cannot read. I don't know how to call it in English. Like you mistake the letters. So
dyslexia.
Dyslexia. Yeah. So what happened with him is every time he had a problem to solve in the business, he was so used to trying to, like, he didn't have any immediate response, like any automatic pilot. He thought all the way through with a problem, even if it was a similar problem than before. And what happened with that, his solutions, what he chose in the business was so different every day that it actually kept the business moving forward, because it was not like, okay, if you push pedal 1, pedal B will do whatever. It was like, okay, how many pedals do we have? What do we have to do here? And who else can help me with it? So these kind of little things, like tidbits of genius from people that actually have ease with these things, have really made me look at things very differently from what I used to think was the normal and the perfect way of doing things.
That's great. I love that. Thank you for saying that. That looking at things from the question all the time of what else is possible here? What would it take to change this? Who can help me with this? What do I know that I'm pretending I don't know? Because we have so much awareness and knowing about everything that's available to us, that just asking the question, what do I know that I'm pretending I don't know? Or what could change this? What else is possible? And one of the things you said was you didn't see it as a problem. In business, in everything you do, everything we decide is a problem is usually a possibility of something greater. If we can just change that, turn our points of view 180 degrees and start looking at everything we think, oh, my God, this is a problem. Oh, my God, I've got debt. Oh, my God, my clients didn't show up. Or, oh, no, my book isn't full. What if it's not a problem? What if it's a possibility? And how can you turn every one of those problems you have, like you were describing beautifully with this man, into a possibility for something greater? And said, okay, how much money would I have to make to pay my debt off with ease? That would grow your business. That turns a problem into a possibility. What would it take to have more clients than I can imagine calling me up that I can't even fit them in my schedule? Turning that into a possibility for creating more. What would it take to change this? Something that you think is a problem, you can change. It's what I was just explaining with my parents with their IRS thing. I'm like, okay, Mom, what's it going to take to change this? What do we have to know? What information do we need? And everything starts falling into place. And most of this is not going to actually be by asking questions. We've been able to change what my parents owe the IRS drastically. In fact, it may go down to owing nothing. What would it take for that to show up? So these are the kind of questions you ask to change things. And you, like I said before, you don't want to look for an answer. You want to look for everything that will contribute to help you creating the change. And I love to add, what would it take for this to change in a way that's greater than I could ever imagine? And by adding the ever imagined at the end, I stop my brain from trying to figure it out. Because it has to be greater than my brain could ever imagine. And that allows me to go beyond this reality.
I totally love that. It's we're so used to looking what we already know, like looking at the for the keys in your room when you lost them in the car. So it's amazing. It's amazing, those questions. And this, I would love to make an invitation to everyone that is listening to us to attend one of these great classes we have in Joy of Business, where we have all these tools and much more that we can share in a 1 hour show. We are both facilitators for the Joy of Business, and we would love to see you in one of these classes and share all the millions of tools that we have here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and all these tools come from the Joy of Business program that was founded by Simone Milesis. And I've been to many of her classes and many of these classes, and Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, also has given so many of these tools. So they're all available for you. There's a 3-day class, a master class. There's 1-day classes, there's evening classes. You can go to accessjoyofbusiness.com and search and find all the classes that are available in your area. We have facilitators all over the world. And you can have these tools, get them in 3 days or 1 day instead of the years that I've spent going to classes. It's all right here now available in beautiful workshops with great facilitators. And Elena, is there a way for people to find you easily?
Oh, totally. I have a website in the Access Joy of Business. You can find my profile there, and you can get in touch with me. And you, Elena?
Yeah, also it's a Joy of Business, and you can also find all the list of classes that I have also up on the Access Consciousness site. It's accessconsciousness.com/Dr. Glenna Rice. Or you can go to Access Consciousness and find out all those classes that are available. Lots of different ways. GlennaRice.com also. This was so fun. I had so much fun talking to you.
Thank you.